Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking aim at the absolute silent killer of SME productivity. I'm talking about busy work, repetitive tasks. You know the ones, they're those small, seemingly harmless chores that someone on your team has to do over and over again, the exact same steps in the exact same order, day in and day out. Now, individually, they might not seem like a big deal, but man, they pile up fast. And when they do, they completely crowd out the high-value strategic work that actually grows your business. So, is busy work killing your business? It's a tough question, but we really have to ask ourselves, because administrative overload is a universal pain point for pretty much every small and medium enterprise out there. But here's the thing, we need to reframe how we think about this. The goal here isn't to look at automation as some sci-fi way to replace your amazing people. Not at all. Instead, think of automation as a framework to give your team a massive upgrade. It frees them from the daily grind so they can laser focus on what they actually do best. Okay, let's quickly look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the perfect automation candidate, automating appointments and invoices, streamlining data and documents, smarter socials and reporting, and finally, how to start automating. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the perfect automation candidate. Before you get excited and try to automate everything in sight, we need to establish a really simple baseline framework. You see, you have to know what actually benefits from this tech. There are 5 non-negotiable characteristics of a truly great automation candidate. First step, the task has to follow the exact same steps every single time, with basically zero variation. Second, the inputs and outputs, they need to be crystal clear. Third, it should be something you do a lot, ideally daily or weekly. Fourth, if someone makes a mistake doing this task, it should have a clear, measurable impact, like lost hours or a messed up database. And lastly, number 5, and this is absolutely crucial, it requires no complex reasoning. If a task needs significant human judgment, deep emotional intelligence, or, delicate relationship handling, it is a terrible candidate for automation. Keep those human. Moving right along to Section 2, automating appointments and invoices. Let's look at some real-world, practical examples, starting with client communications. We all know client comms can eat up hours of staff time. Just picture a professional services firm, a small clinic, or a consultancy. Managing appointments usually means a confirmation, a reminder, and then a follow-up. And hey, we've all felt the pain of a client missing an appointment just because they forgot. You're left with an empty chair and lost revenue. Doing all that back and forth manually creates a massive risk of things just slipping through the cracks. But if you use scheduling tools that have built-in triggers, all those messages happen in the background. If you're doing just 30 bookings a week, putting this on autopilot saves hours of admin and drastically cuts down on those agonizing no-shows. The only catch? Make sure those automated emails are polished and perfectly aligned with your brand voice. A robotic, poorly written email is a bad look, even if it arrives right on time. Now, let's talk about late payments. Another massive headache, right? Well, what's really fascinating is how today's accounting platforms can take over that super uncomfortable job of chasing money for you. They can automatically send out progressively firmer reminders on a set schedule. But, and this is a big but, you absolutely must set a clear escalation point for a human to step in. That's step 3 right there. Fully automated debt chasing without any human oversight is a recipe for disaster. You don't want a system blindly pestering a great client who just had a legitimate question about their invoice. That will instantly damage a relationship you've worked incredibly hard to build. All right, Section 3 is streamlining data and documents. Let's shift our focus to internal administrative friction. We are talking about the crazy amount of time and money wasted just moving information from point A to point B. Check out this stark contrast. The old way is basically a tedious, error-prone nightmare. An email comes in, somebody has to manually copy the data into a spreadsheet, and then they have to forward the document to the right department. It is just so inefficient. The new way? It uses workflow tools to connect your systems directly. A web form gets submitted, and boom, it automatically populates your CRM and instantly creates a task in your project management software. Nobody is manually transferring a thing. Not only does this save a ton of time, but it literally wipes out transcription errors completely. Now I get it. Looking at all your internal workflows and trying to spot these bottlenecks can feel pretty overwhelming. If you're sitting there not entirely sure where to begin, you don't have to wing it. There are specialized consultancies out there for SMEs. For example, groups like Redfield Technologies offer specialized AI readiness assessments. They can take a look under the hood of your business, assess your processes, and recommend the right tools to ensure you're doing this responsibly and effectively. Let's dive into Section 4, smarter socials and reporting.
we're shifting gears to look at content creation and data tracking.
These are the exact types of tasks that are super easy to neglect when you're swamped, but they are absolutely crucial for your long-term growth. Publishing content consistently is notoriously tough for small business owners wearing a dozen different hats. But the fix is actually pretty straightforward, using scheduling tools and AI drafting assistants. If you just allocate 1 single hour a week to batch prepare your content, you completely eliminate that daily distracting urge to log into 5 different platforms. You get your focus back for the rest of the week. But remember the golden rule. Automated posting does not mean you can set it and forget it. Always keep a human in the loop to review the tone and make sure everything is accurate before it goes live. Internal reporting is another huge time sink. And this brings up a brilliant, crucial warning. Automated reports are only as reliable as the data they draw on. Yes, these tools can pull data on a schedule and use AI to whip up beautiful summaries in minutes. But if your source data is a mess, if it's incomplete, outdated, or formatted weirdly, the automation is just going to amplify those problems at lightning speed. So doing a thorough data cleanup is an absolutely necessary first step. Garbage in, garbage out, right? And that brings us to Section 5, how to start automating. Let's bring the energy down just a bit and look at a foolproof, low-risk strategy for actually making this happen. The single most common mistake businesses make is trying to boil the ocean. They try to automate 5 different processes across 3 different teams all at once. And honestly, that's just a recipe for a painful, expensive project. Instead, use this incremental framework. Step 1, choose just one clearly defined task. Step 2, run the new automation in parallel with your old manual process. Step 3, verify that it actually works correctly and handles the edge cases. Then, and only then, hit Step 4 and hand it over fully. Taking this one step at a time builds confidence and guarantees things are reliable before you tackle the next big thing. So let's take a quick second to review this cheat sheet of everything we've covered today. We talked about finding those repetitive, structured, frequent tasks as your ideal candidates. We looked at getting quick wins on the board with booking confirmations and invoice chasing. We saw how workflow tools can totally eliminate manual data entry and why you always need human review before hitting publish on content. And ultimately, it all comes down to the core strategy. Start small, verify, and then expand. Incremental upgrades are just infinitely more effective than trying to do some massive, intimidating overhaul. So I'm going to leave you with this. Take a look around your desk. Check your team's calendar for the upcoming week. What is that one repetitive, time-draining task that you are going to automate first? The tools are out there, the framework is set, and you have the power to reclaim your time and upgrade your entire business. Start small for sure, but start today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.